Good afternoon. Today is Wednesday and it is time for Money Talk with Catherine Franklin, answering your financial and money questions. So somebody asked me what time are you going to do Q&A, and I'm like, I don't know. I really don't know. I have not set a time yet, and I'm afraid to set a time because I don't want to be so restrictive. My intention is, you know what, if you catch me live, great. If not, I'm going to leave the answers here and you can listen to them after the fact. The other thing is you can join my newsletter, and I am going to make sure that I send out the transcription from the Q&A to the people who are signed up in my newsletter. All right, so let's get started. I thank you for your questions. I got many questions and they were all in different directions. So what I've tried to do is lump topics that are similar together. And so today I'm going to cover about 2 topics because I only want to be here for about 15 minutes. I want to make it short and sweet. So the first question that I came across, so I'm going to actually answer 3 questions, right? Well, 3 types of questions. Let me put it that way. So the first type of question has been around savings, right? So one person asked, instead of a CD, what's the best way to make your money grow? Somebody else, how much should they be saving in every paycheck? Somebody else asked, what is the best method for savings? So those were 3 questions around savings, and I'm going to answer them together. So in terms of savings, what is the best method to save? The best method is automatic withholding. Whether you want to call that a standing order, whether you want to call it an automated withdrawal, or whatever the case may be, but this is where you instruct your bank to take out a certain amount or a certain percentage at a given date. So for example, you get paid on the 15th of the month and you have a standing order, or you have an automatic withholding or withdrawals, automatic transfer set up on your account to withdraw, to move over into your savings account a certain amount every 15th of the month. So the act of having something automated is really key. So with savings, automation is key. So that's the best method, right? And I'm going to assume by method they were asking how to make sure that they save, right? The way to make sure that you save is making it automatic, getting that money out before you ever see it. One of the other ways is, if you receive a W-2, is withholding at the source. So instead of getting all your whole paycheck deposited in one account and then directing it from there, you could decide what your savings, the savings that you want, the amount or the percentage. You set that up with your employer, so that when your paycheck is processed, the money doesn't go into one account, it goes into 2 or 3 accounts. And you've already decided that I am going to save so much money. Let's say, for example, I'm going to save $500 every month. So your employer is going to put the rest of your paycheck in one account, but $500 will go into your savings account that you provide them. And so that is another way of doing automated savings. So savings at the source, or automation at the point, sorry, I need my computer. Okay. Automation at the point where the money hits the account. And if you're going to do it when the money hits your account, then you want to make this automation as soon as the money hits account. So probably on the same day or the following day after the money comes in, so that you technically don't see this money, and you stop to depend on this money, and you stop to think of your income without including, you start thinking of your income without including this portion, right? So the other question is, how much are you supposed to save on every paycheck? And I know there's going to be theories out there that will say, okay, you should save 10% or 20% or whatever. But this is my perspective. How much you should save depends on several different things. For example, why are you saving? Are you saving just because you think it's a good idea? It's a good concept? Are you trying to have a savings culture? Or why are you saving? Are you saving for a large amount, a large purchase, an immediate emergency fund? Or are you looking to grow wealth, right? Because the answer then kind of determines how much you put away, right? So by this, what I mean is I want you to bring some intention. So get out of the doing it because it's a good thing and put some intention behind why you're saving. Because once you put intention behind why you're saving, it then starts to drive. You start to look at your whole entire picture. What is your budget? How much can you save? Based on what your expenses are, what your income is, right? And then from there, you can set the intention. I want to save this much, or I'm buying this. I want to save it for emergency, and let that intention drive your behavior, right? Part of the reason why I don't want to give a specific percentage is because different people are at different points in life. So if you're a person who is saying, I'm trying to pay off debt, then it may be prudent to set up an emergency fund of a certain amount, maybe 3K. And then the rest of the time, maybe pause on saving and pay off debt. Now, or you may be a person who is ready to, who is looking to grow wealth. That's your intention. If your intention is to grow wealth, then depending on what's going on in your life, you could put away 10%, 20, 30. It just varies, depends on your personal situation. And if your intention is to grow wealth, then what I would say is that you have to go beyond savings, because no great wealth was really built on savings. Savings is step one. Step two is investing that savings with an expectation of a return on investment, right? So why are you saving? That then dictates your behavior. The third thing you have to think about is, where are you saving, right? And that again gets driven by why you're saving. I am, one of the things I teach my students is that you need to have multiple bank accounts. You shouldn't just have one checking account and one savings account. You need to have multiple bank accounts for different things and for different purposes. And in my class, we talk about maybe, 4 or 5 accounts, just depending on what we're doing, right? Separating your money is important. Separate your money based on use and intention. And because it also ensures that you do not violate your boundaries, right? One of the problems of having a savings culture, just to have a savings culture without having a clear intention about it, is that if you also don't have strong financial boundaries, you can save, but it doesn't mean that you always keep the money. You can save, but it doesn't mean that you're growing wealth. That's why I say, because we throw this word around savings, I think that as more financially sophisticated or astute women, and men, in this case we have, both genders watching, I think you have to have a clear intention of why you're saving and where you're going to put your savings, how you're going to save, and just putting a little bit more thought towards it. So when it comes to saving and growing money, I'm always going to give a plug on my class, Money Mastery for Women. And in Money Mastery for Women, we talk about savings, but we start from the budget. We start from that space of creating a spending plan and letting that spending plan plus the vision you have for your life, where you want to go, be the thing that drives what you do with your money. All right. Now, one other question in terms of savings was, instead of a CD, what are the best ways to invest your money? And what are the best ways to make your money grow? Now that there's a gamut. I mean, if off the top of my head, you can put money in the stock market, that is stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds. That's just a stock market. That will make your money grow. Real estate will make your money grow. There are many different ways to invest in real estate. You can put money into silver coins and gold coins. And as I said, in terms of real estate, there are different kinds. You can grow your money by lending it. You can grow your money by putting it in business. I mean, there are 1,001 ways to grow your money other than a CD. But in terms of, if you're thinking in terms of a financial institution, CDs is one, money market is another. Then, and because I know this is a hot topic right now, I'm also going to go through that growing cash value in an insurance product, that in a permanent life insurance product is also one of the ways to grow money. Is it the best way to grow money for most people? I don't know. I think it depends on your situation. So I think that answers that. These questions are really broad, and most of them kind of depend on the person. Now, the next question I'm going to answer is around 529s and Roth, because I had several questions in relation to children and minors and their future. Before I move on, I see Judy is asking a question. Any recommendations on where to keep the money? Your bank account, a savings account, but you need multiple accounts. Having a Roth IRA is great. Having an IRA is great. I did mention the money market, but I think it depends on what you're trying to do. But this is what I would also say. Bottom line is, as much as possible, besides the small amount, I call it a small amount because it shouldn't be majority of your emergency fund. I think that sitting around with a large amount in savings is not prudent. In a savings account that is paying close to nothing is not prudent, which takes me back to what I was going to say about why it's so important to have an intention of why you're saving. Is that if you do not have an intention of why you're saving, then, and with so many women not having financial boundaries, what I find is that you're going to be saving, but there's going to be other people's emergencies, other people's problems, other people's relatives, friends, whatever. And if you don't have financial boundaries, but you have a savings culture, it means that you always have money. And you're going to be the person who is rescuing everybody and basically becoming the village Jesus. Why? You have money because you have a savings culture, but because you have no intention, you haven't told that money what it's supposed to do for you, what it is for, then everybody can come and ask for it. And unfortunately, far too often, we have a situation where you feel guilty, you feel you don't have financial boundaries, you have codependency, or whatever other thing that's going on with you that's going to make you keep dipping into that savings account and dishing out that money. So it's not enough to have a savings culture. That's all I would say about that. Okay, so then now let's go back to the question on the 529s and Roth, because there were several people asked those two questions together. What's a 529? It's basically a tax advantage vehicle to save money for yourself or children with the intention of that money being used for education, especially higher education. Now, one of the questions that came is, which other investment can I add to my son's portfolio? That, again, every possible investment can be added to your son's portfolio. I mean, hey, different people have done different things to prepare for college. I've seen people buy a house, pay off their house in 18 years. Then once that house is paid off, it becomes the asset that takes the kid to school. I've seen that gets sold or gets rented out, and the cash flow is used to pay for college. I've seen people buy a piece of land and sell, let it appreciate and sell it when the kid goes to college. Obviously, you can have a straight up custodial investment account that purchases stocks and bonds, shares, bonds, ETFs, whatever, in the stock market. I have also, of course, there's also a lot of conversation about IULs. I personally am not a fan of IULs for college, and I'll tell you why. Because you're only talking about 20 years, and unless you are ready to be putting $1,000 into this account, most people are not putting enough money into an IUL to ensure that there's enough growth, and also considering the cost of insurance for there to be a significant amount of money to cover college. So if your intention of putting the money in an IUL was for college, then you have to make sure that you are actually putting in enough so that there will be enough money for college. Which brings us to the question, how much are you going to need? So that you can start with the end in mind. Are you going to need 200,000, 300,000, 100,000, 50K? What are you looking to have by the time the kid goes to college, right? Then working backwards, if you're going to use an IUL, how much do you need to put? What is that premium you need to put in? How much is that overfunding of insurance you need to put in for those 15 years so there's money? If you don't do that, then you're going to be putting money towards an IUL and it will not have the money to pay for college, and you're going to feel cheated because you're going to feel like you've been paying into this for too long, okay? So getting clarity in the financial decisions that you're making and not letting the person who is selling the product to you drive the conversation, but you getting clear what your intention and your goals are so that you are asking informed questions and you're making sure that you're protecting your bottom line and you're making sure that your goals are going to be met, right? So again, there are government 1,001 things you can do to invest, because basically anything that is available that is investable can be invested in a child's portfolio, right? Is it true? Here's another question. Is it true that you can transfer $35,000 of his 529 to a Roth for him upon maturity when he turns 18? That is true and not true depending on when you started the 529. The rule that started with this is a Biden law, and it's called Secure Act 2.0, the Secure Act 2.0. And this act basically allowed for money remaining in a 529 plan to be transferred or rolled over into a Roth. How much can you roll and what are the rules? The rule is the money has to have been in the 529 for 15 years. And so typically the intent is this. You put money into a 529 and now the kid got a scholarship, or the kid didn't go to college, right? Or you had 2-3 kids. They all used up most of it, but there's a remainder. There's money that's remaining in the 529 and now you don't know what to do with it. So the real intent of this rule was you can roll over up to 35K in a lifetime. Okay, so it's in a lifetime, 35K from a 529 to a Roth, but the 529 has to be in the name of the child. The 529 has to be in the name of the child, and then you can roll into a Roth IRA. So if you started a 529 when your kid was 3 years old, so now this money has been sitting in the 529, he's now 18, she's now 18, and now there is the money has been in there for over 15 years. So yes, in that case, you can roll over to $35,000 and put it into a Roth. That's one of the most beautiful things that this Secure Act 2.0 has come with, because it's a way of getting money into a Roth. And somebody might ask, what's a Roth? Roth is basically it's an IRA, which is an individual retirement account that allows you to put in post-tax dollars, but you are able to take the money out, and the money grows inside a Roth, and you're able to take it out tax-free. And if you take it out after 59 and a half, it's penalty-free. But it can also come out to do different things. For example, purchase a home, first-time home, and I think there's some other emergencies. There's some exceptions of why you can withdraw money from a Roth, but without penalty. Yeah. So one of the things that to note is that the 529, the characteristic of 529s and Roths are similar in the sense that you put post-tax dollars and the money grows tax-free. And that's part of the reason why it would make sense for the Congress to allow for that 529 rollover. And you know what? We should almost be wrapping up, because I said I didn't want to stay here for too long. So let's finish this and then we'll wrap it up. Now, the next question is, what do you think of Roth IRAs for minors? And then there's another question on discussing a backdoor Roth. Let me discuss the IRA for minors, and maybe we postpone backdoor Roth to next week. All right, because it's a little convoluted and I need to spend time on it. What do I think about Roth IRAs for minors? I love them, okay? The beauty of, the key thing is you can't just open a Roth IRA for a kid. They have to have earnings. So for them to have earnings, you need to pay them. Works out great if you're self-employed, independent contractor, you have a business, great, you can pay your kids. Now, I've seen a few people do this, but they're doing it incorrectly. You cannot take your kid and add them to your payroll. Okay, let me take that back. You can do that, but that's not the most tax advantaged way. If you're doing, part of the reason you're paying your kid is to save on taxes, then putting them in the same payroll as all your other employees as yourself is not gonna give you the most tax advantaged way of paying your kids, right? So, and I will be doing a class, master class in March on tax savings. And so if you're there, especially if you're self-employed, keep a lookout of when I announce the free master class I'll be doing on taxation, on reducing your taxes. And we're going to discuss, paying your children. All right. Now, so the key thing is for your minor to have a Roth IRA is that they have to earn. So whether they're working for other people, or whether they're earning, sorry, I'm getting some text, or whether they are working for other people or you are paying them because they're working for you. You just have to make sure if they're going to be working for you, that you make sure that you have the proper paper trail so that is justifiable. And then yes, you can put the money into a Roth. I am a big fan of them, of Roth IRAs for minors. All right. Let me just touch on it because this also has to do with kids. So Laurie asked, when it comes to wills and trusts, do your kids need to be a certain age to inherit? No. When it comes to wills and trusts, when it comes to trust especially, you get to set the trust. You get to decide what are the rules of access. What are the rules for the beneficiaries? So I have seen trusts written, for example, when you get your first college degree. After you get your college degree, then you can access so much money. When you reach a certain age, you can access so much money. And especially when you're going to be setting up a trust that's going to have a significant amount, you do need to create some rules and boundaries so that you don't have a situation where an irresponsible child turns 18 and now is starting to blow the trust left, right, and center when they're really not at an age when they can really comprehend the benefit and the value and the privilege of being able to have that kind of money. Okay, so in terms of wills, Now, yeah, with wills, there's no limit. Now, of course, if your child is a minor and there's a probate, the court is going to appoint somebody to basically be a custodian for your children's inheritance. So, which then comes back to why you set up trusts, because by setting up a trust, you are ensuring that if something were to happen to you, then you've already set up the structure for how your money, that inheritance, is going to be handled, because you have put assets in a trust, and now there are rules and regulations of how that trust is going to be managed, and the trustee has the responsibility of managing that trust in accordance to the rules and the regulations set in the trust. Okay? So, and I just wanted to answer that because it is related to kids, and several of the questions were related to kids. So we're going to postpone the backdoor Roth, and we'll talk about it next time. All right? Okay, so thank you so much. If any of this was helpful to you, you're welcome to share it with your friends. Tag a friend, on this, or share it. Let me see, there's one question. How about a college kid that wants to grow his money for the next 2 years? Which is the best way to grow that money? A college kid that wants to grow their money, then I think if it's short term, then probably a money market is going to be your best bet, because you want something secure. If you're going to need money in 2 years, then you need something that's secure. So a CD, which typically ends up being like a fixed deposit account, or a money market. To me, if you're going to need the money quickly, you need it to be liquid, you need it to be secure. So the rule of thumb is, you don't want to put money in the stock market that you need quickly in case the market shifts, which it is. It comes up and down. And the day that you need the money is the day the market is down, and now you're going to have to sell at a loss, or you're going to have to take a significant haircut on your gains because you need to sell. You have an emergency, so you don't put emergency money in the stock market. Neither do you put it in spaces where that are going to require a long-term commitment and a long-term perspective. Okay, which then also makes me allow me to mention that, and I'm saying this because this has become so popular right now. It's the in thing. IULs is a long shot. It's a long game. It's not a short game. So do not listen to somebody who is telling you that, oh, you're going to put this money here, and in 5 years you're going to have you can withdraw 100,000. Most of those stories are not real. Okay, or in a year you're going to withdraw this. This much money. You've got to get very IULs are sophisticated and complicated tools, and investment products, and you need to make sure that you have all the facts. Ask the right questions and have all the facts. But I'm going to say, if you're there and you're saying, I don't have facts, I don't have the foundation, so I don't know what questions to ask, then join my Money Mastery for Women. That's what we teach. We give you the foundational knowledge, so that you can make those informed decisions, good decisions for your money in your life. You can ask informed questions, and you can make sure that you are safeguarding your financial future, and you have financial security. Because far too often people make financial decisions without having the proper background, without having the proper information, and ultimately end up losing money, or end up things don't turn out as they had hoped, or they had been sold to, because they were never going to turn out that way based on the facts that were on the ground. And I don't want that for women. And that's part of the reason why I stepped up and said, you know what, I am going to teach women and give them that financial foundation, so that they can have peace of mind, have financial security, and ultimately build wealth. Somebody asked me, do you only do the group cohorts, or do you do other types of coaching? I do private coaching for individuals, and I'm open to take men for private coaching, or couples. I also do couples as well as individuals who need private the private one-on-one. You know, you don't want to join a group, or you can't be in a group for whatever reason, and you'd prefer to have the one-on-one. So you are welcome to reach out to me. You can DM me if that's something that you're interested in. I know some couples have asked me if that is something that I do, and I'd be happy to work with a couple privately. Alrighty, so that's the end of our Q&A today. I'm gonna share a link on there, and the link will call out if you sign up for the newsletter. In the newsletter, we will provide these answers in the Q&A. So that's gonna come into your inbox on Tuesdays. And we also have the newsletter has other good stuff like smart money moves for the week, or money tips for the week. That's gonna be other information that we provide. And also, when our next cohort begins, or we have any other learning opportunities, free, even including free opportunities, you're gonna be the first person to know. So I'm gonna put a link for the newsletter up on here on this video when we get done, and join us. All right, have a great week, and I wish you all the best, and I hope that 2024 is a year that you make some amazing money moves, and that you prosper and that you thrive in your money.